What are we about to do?
We gotta check on chicks. If they crack, they're cracky.
If they crack, they're cracky. All right, let's go see if they cracked.
I think 6.
What do you think about them? Ben?
Cute.
They're cute. Oh, there they are. There's a bunch of them in there. We just have this big bin, like a plastic tub that has been used for a jillion different things. And we have our heat plate here. We brood our birds with these heat plates from Premier One. Prefer them hugely over heat lamps because we typically brood our chicks in our basement, and we have for a long time. That will change at some point in the future, especially when we redo this space and it's actually a nice finished space. As of right now, it's kind of just like a junk catch-all, and this is where we brood chicks. So we don't want heat lamps in our house because they're a pretty serious fire hazard. And obviously you don't want a fire hazard anywhere, but you especially don't want it in the house where your children are sleeping. The other benefit to using those is that the chicks, if they want to get out of that heat, they can just come out from underneath the plate. Whereas a heat lamp, you can overheat and accidentally kill your chicks by making it too hot. Now it would be more ideal for them to have more space if we had like a smaller heat plate in here or a larger brooder. But quail are tiny, tiny birds, and so even with this not being a ton of space, it's enough for right now while they're very small. We also have an actual quail cage that these will be moving into very soon, but as of right now, while they're hatching, this is just what we're gonna set up here in the basement. I've obviously got lots of chicks out in here, but I'm gonna leave this closed because I don't want to drop the humidity and possibly shrink wrap any of these other babies in there while they're trying to get out. They're okay for right now. I just came back down to the basement. I have not opened my incubator a single time today. I've been peeping in the window because I'm hearing all the little peeps. We've got a lot of quail in here. Maya's about to come down here and we're going to unload it. Got the heating plate all warm. We're gonna get them out of here before we go to bed. You'll notice I don't have food and water in here yet. They don't need it the day that they hatch, but I'll put it in here in the morning and I'll show that to you guys whenever I do. We use a GQF Sportsman 1502 incubator, and it has these 3 shelves here which have automatic turners on them, and they move like this, and these trays sit on those shelves with the eggs in them. And for the first 14 days of being incubated, these quail eggs were being turned throughout the day. On day 14 in lockdown, you move them down to the area where they're going to hatch, and at that point they're no longer turned for the rest of their incubation because we want the chick to be able to get into place. I just wanted to clear up any confusion because I posted a quick clip and a vlog of these and people said, well, do you have to turn them? That's why they were all laid out on the bottom on the paper towels, because they were on lockdown. You ready to see my quail? Here, look, you can use my phone light to peep in. I'm waiting on Maya to get in there.
Oh, they're so small. Like really small.
Today, Toby didn't realize that I knew they were hatching, and he came down here, and he wasn't supposed to be down here. And he came running up, and he was so conflicted because he wanted to tell me that the quail were hatching, but he didn't want to be busted that he was playing in the basement. Normally, when it's cold outside, we let our kids like run around and play in the basement. However, right now I've got these couches stacked up here that we're getting rid of, and I don't want my kids getting hurt. I don't want them knocking over, so they're not supposed to be down here. But so Toby came down and had to kind of bust himself out because he needed to tell me the quail were hatching. Oh my goodness.
Holy cow.
That's a lot of freaking quail. They're fast. They're really fast. Look at that poor little derpy guy with his hand stuck in a shell. That's funny.
It's funny.
He's out of the shell.
Alright, okay. Oh my gosh.
The lucky one.
So many quail. For those of you who missed the original video where I got these quail eggs in the mail, These were hatching eggs that came from a friend of mine that runs a small hatchery in Northern California that's called Alchemist Farms. She actually breeds her quail for egg color. So we got some of the, oh golly, some of like the basic quail eggs. This is a hatched egg. But we also got some that have been bred to lay blue. And we actually put 190 eggs in the incubator, which is a lot, but they were shipped, and so I wanted to have enough to make sure we had a really good hatch. Well, she has really, really great eggs. There were only about 10 that we had to pull out because they had issues, which that's really good. And obviously we had a great hatch. 86 quail babies. That's a lot of quail babies. They're so minuscule. I've never seen such a tiny chick before. There are a lot more in the incubator that are still hatching. One of the downsides to having the incubator so full, and it can happen when the incubator is not full. I've had it happen when I've had just a handful of eggs in there. But sometimes when one chick hatches before the other one is all the way out of the shell, they'll accidentally turn the egg over. And there are several in there that were pinned. We cleared out all the eggs, cleared out the babies. It's not great to have the incubator open like that when they're trying to hatch. However, it's also not great for them to get turned over and stuck. So we wanted to get all of these out, and hopefully in the morning we'll come down to several more hatched quail, but 86. For me, getting a 50% hatch on shipped eggs, it's pretty good. And so we're definitely at 50% now. So anything else that comes out at this point will be bonus. So I'll load these up in a basket and take them out to the compost pile. We compost all of the shells from hatching eggs. Good morning. I just woke up and I'm going to go down and check on our quail babies, see how many more might have hatched overnight, and see how the ones in the brooder are doing. I'm going to take you guys with me. Looks like they're all camped out under the warming plate. They all look okay. Everybody's kind of squirming around. You gotta be careful lifting these things up and putting them back down that you don't crush anybody. Hi, tiny one. All right, you guys ready to see what else hatched in the night? Oh yeah, a lot more in here. Okay, I'm gonna move them down and count them while I do. Oh, look here. Oh, he's on his way out. Oh, you guys got to see him go. I just moved 22 more quail chicks down from the incubator, and I left 3 in there, including that little guy that we just saw pop out of the shell, because I want to give them a minute to kind of get their bearings before I stick them down here in the brooder. Now, I didn't worry about putting water in here yesterday because they don't need water and food the very first day that they hatch. However, they are going to need it this morning, but this is way too many chicks to stay in here for a long term. I mean, it's okay for right now when they're very fresh hatched and they're just starting to move around. It's okay, but I would not leave these guys in this bin for even another day. So we're actually gonna set up our big quail brooding cage that we got from some of our friends, and when we do that, I'll put their water and food in there. These are seriously the tiniest little chicks I've ever seen. Look at that. Like, I wish I had a good reference to show you just how little they are, but I have quite small hands and they are about the size of my thumb. They just weigh next to nothing. Look at this. So we're going to check the incubator one more time. It's been a few hours since I was down here, and I just want to see how many more we might have hatched and get a final hatch count for the end of this video before. Let's see what we got in here. Hold on, wait. Oh yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more from this morning. What do you think? Here, hold him good so he doesn't come out of your hands.
love him.
Yeah, you love him. So sweet.
It's staring at me.
It's staring at you. Are they so cute? You're doing such a good job being gentle with that tiny baby. All right, there we have it. 116 quail chicks. That's our current count on our quail hatch. There are more in the incubator that I believe will hatch that are still working their way out of the shell. So I don't know what our total will end up being. It probably won't be just a whole lot more than that. That's a pretty good percentage. It's a pretty good hatch, especially for eggs that were shipped. And for the fact that I did have one instance of where my humidity dropped really low in my incubator when I went out of town. I came back and it was lower than I would have liked to see it. So I'm very pleased with this hatch. We are going to be setting up the quail cage later today, which we'll show you guys that in a later vlog. But if you are interested in getting quail eggs, I had a lot of people comment this on the video when they were shipped to me and asking if the person I got the eggs from does sell eggs, and she does. She has a hatchery. That's what she does. So I'll put a link down below to her hatchery and to her Instagram if you'd like to follow her. It's Alchemist Farms. We will be back soon in a vlog with an update, and we'll be following the journey of these quail as they grow up and start laying eggs for us of their own. Thank you guys so much for watching and for sharing exciting stuff like this with us. We love being able to share this with you. So God bless you. Until next time.